Alrighty, let's get right into it. I don't know where I'm going to go with this, just based on just more things that I'm been thinking about this whole lockdown. I just want to say first and foremost, the supposed leaders of this country are making a complete mockery out of this quarantine. The people that are enforcing these rules are not being affected by it, so it's very easy to enforce certain rules, very draconian rules, extreme measures, when it doesn't really apply to you. I mean, take for instance the Surgeon General, Dr. Fauci, Deborah Birx, the mainstream media. They're all getting fresh haircuts every couple weeks. My shit's getting shaggy. Everyone else is trying to cut their own haircuts. But when they do press releases and press conferences, I'm sure they're getting one-on-one, no social distancing for their makeup, right? Make sure the makeup looks all good. They're still getting their nice haircut. The governor, Gavin Newsom of California, which that guy should just be recalled at this point. He's looking all tidy, right? He's still getting income. He doesn't have to worry about, paying his mortgage or rent. He's well paid off. But these leaders are telling us that how we should live our lives. This is not the America that I envisioned. And a sheriff from Arizona who didn't want to enforce the lockdowns said the same thing. What else? There's just a lot of hypocrisy going on, whether you believe in the lockdowns or not. Once you lose your constitutional rights, your civil liberties, it's very hard to get back. I don't recall if I've said this in other videos, because I've done so many videos on this, but it's 100% true. You can't take it for granted, because the United States is slowly, whether you like it or not, it's turning into China, communism. If you want to talk to people from Cuba and oppressed countries, China, this is not what you want. And are people just oblivious to it? Are people just uneducated? Do people just not care? Or do they have too much trust and faith in the higher-ups? It's a combination of everything. That's where I try to put out these videos and be objective about it, because I don't have anything to lose. I'm not funding any money doing this video, just YouTube video, just me in the car talking to you. Why is it that when there's other doctors who have differing opinions and there's different clinical studies that contradict what the World Health Organization and the CDC are stating, why are they being censored? Why is that? Why is everything that doesn't fit their agenda be considered a conspiracy? And I hate that term conspiracy, because I believe it was made by the government, or by I have to look at it, look into it. I think it was made by the CIA to use a derogatory term to demonize people from having a differing opinion. Just because I have a differing opinion from what the higher-ups have a certain agenda, just because I don't meet that agenda, just because certain individuals don't meet that agenda, it doesn't mean everything is a conspiracy. When there's more than one person, when there's more documented stuff, when there's tons of documentation of Bill Gates stating that he wants to depopulate, and if you look in his eyes, and if you watch the videos, his eyes don't lie. He almost has a smirk on his face, like, this is what I want. When he's paying off, when he's the biggest contributor of the World Health Organization, there is a conflict of interest. It just goes on and on. I was going to do a separate video on it, but if you want to look up a guy named Neil Ferguson, this guy, I don't know too much about him, but he is one of the guys that they use his computer model, his algorithm. He's in Imperial College over in the UK, I believe, and this guy is the guy that Bill Gates and other people lean to get their information on projections. You always hear about projections about how many people are going to die. I don't have the exact numbers on my head, but you got to look it up. But this Neil Ferguson guy, his track record is sketchy at best. Back in, I forgot what year, 2001, correct me if I'm wrong, the mad cow disease, if you heard about that, he had projected, I believe, 160,000 people were going to die in the UK alone. And because of that, he had like 14 million cows slaughtered because of that. After his projection of about 160,000 people dying in the UK from the mad cow disease, you know how many people eventually died? I think it was about 200, and of the 200, 65 roughly were farmers. So they basically felt so paralyzed from what happened, and they probably just lost all their business, and they got suicidal and they killed themselves. So if you take out the 65, not many people died from it, so it's not even close. Back in 2005, the Neil Ferguson guy, the bird flu, the avian flu in 2005, he had projected, hopefully I don't get all the numbers mixed up, he projected a lot. I think he projected close to 2 million deaths, and ultimately the number of the people that died from the bird flu in 2005, according to the numbers, is about, I think it's like less than 200, like 100. 2 million and 100. That's not even in the ballpark at all. It's not even close. And they're using this Neil Ferguson guy. They're using this Neil Ferguson guy as the model. Why isn't anyone questioning this? Things are starting to leak out slowly. Why isn't that? Why isn't no one questioning that? You tell me. Whether the guy's doing it purposely or not, his projections are quite off, and his projections are off once again for the coronavirus, the COVID. If you even believe in the inflated numbers. Yeah, I just lost my train of thought. Yeah, why isn't anyone questioning that? Oh, and another thing. Guess who contributes millions of dollars to Imperial College? That's the college that Neil Ferguson does research on. Bill Gates gives them money. You know, it's the way it goes. It's all, when you kind of pull back the curtain, you can kind of see, the more research you do and you go down this rabbit hole, you kind of see how everything's just kind of, they want to keep you dumbed down in our country, or even in the world. They want to keep you dumbed down. That's why people, it's very strange, you know, people are receiving paychecks. It's the ones that are getting the checks, stimulus checks, the unemployment, they're getting money. It's almost like bribe money in a way. They get bribe money to just sit around and do nothing and just go on Amazon, Target, and just do some online shopping because there's nothing else to do. That's what they want. They want to keep you comfortable to the point, and especially like I'm in California, one of the worst states to be in this lockdown. There's and on a national level, there are rumors that they want to push this out all the way past until the election, to prevent people from going to the polls and potentially changing and forging the ballots. I don't know. I'm not going to get into that. I'm not 100% true on that. But there is definitely political motive on that. Some people say it's a last-minute Hail Mary to try to get Trump out of office. But there's a lot, whether you like him or not, there's a lot of just misinformation, and it all goes one way. Because there are a lot of reputable doctors, virologists, microbiologists, that have a differing opinion. But when you ask Dr. Fauci, all he says is, "Oh, that's just a conspiracy." You could tell BS when you see it, and I see it. Last thing I want to say before I depart, keep this under 10 minutes, is if you remember I don't remember her name, but you probably saw on the national TV, she was on Fox News, the salon owner from Texas, I think in Dallas. She wanted to open up her salon early to cut hair, and the judge threatened her and said, "I'm going to put you in jail if you proceed." She says, "Well, you know what? Go ahead, because, you know, I'm going to still take precautions. I'm not going to be stupid about it, but I shouldn't feel like a criminal for wanting to make a living." Nonetheless, the judge gave her a last-minute chance and said, "You need to apologize." And she's like, "I'm not apologizing for trying to put food on the table for my family." And he threw her in the jail for 7 days. Luckily, the governor of Texas is actually doing a pretty good job. Abbott, Greg Abbott, I forgot. Anyway, Mr. Abbott, he's doing a pretty good job in Texas from what I know. He released her after 2 days, thank goodness, and then now her business is booming. She's still taking precautions. She's doing normal things, but I gotta tell you something real quick. We are losing our constitutional rights, like I said earlier. It is not against the law. It's recommended from the draconian government, but it's not against the law for open business of free trade. So me, I'm a customer. I go wanting to get a haircut. I'm exchanging money, currency, for a service. That's called free trade. The Constitution allows that. Just like freedom of assembly in a peaceful manner for if you're going to practice religion, and they're trying to hammer you down on that, trying to basically enforce and scare you from these things. These are constitutional rights. As far as I'm concerned, maybe there's lawyers out there, unless you're under martial law, which is BS in another, but martial law is more about if there's like an invasion or a terrorist attack, but we're not under martial law. So it's an executive order from the governor, but the sheriff and those other things that are part of this process. But it's not against the law not to social distance. It's not against the law to throw a party, but they will try to enforce. And unless you, and I think that lady, the salon owner, had a good amount of lawyers, and she fought it. I understand people have, they don't want to get handcuffed literally and figuratively from the system, but if you have the resources and you can fight, then you definitely should. Well, I know I said last, but the 100% last thing I'm going to say is, whether you agree with the lockdowns or not, tell me if this makes sense. So that salon owner, right, she runs a business, she pays taxes on it, right? They take the taxes, and her tax money, a lot of that, a portion of it goes to public servants, police officers and judges. These same police officers and judges that are being paid a portion of it from the salon owner through her taxes are going to penalize her and tell her that she's selfish for wanting to keep a roof over her head, but they're going to put her in prison even though she's paying their salary. How is that selfish? Tell me, you tell me. If you're for the lockdown, you tell me. How is that logical? How is it logical that prisoners, and I'm not talking on a weed charge, I'm talking about convicted felons. How are convicted felons in the prison system being released because of the coronavirus, because they're worried about getting too much being infected? How are they getting released? And then if I throw a party of 10, you're going to threaten me and put me in jail, and I'm going to go to jail. Who's the criminal? I'm the criminal? The criminal that has a criminal record gets to get out? And then you're going to throw me in? And then if it gets overcrowded, you're going to throw me back out? But then you don't want me to work? Tell me how that makes sense. It 100% does not make sense. Use your some of you people, use your logic. All right? And we could get into the other side of it, the unreliable testing and all that, and I've already done that in other videos. This is just an overall thing. It's turning into a rant, but I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. Let me know, guys. That's it. Bye.